Lights, magic sparks, and you might come pass across the 6'4" chick flinging off icebox with a shot. You thought that's Candace Park. She may be a lady Katie, past the Chrissy, cool as the AC, the ice princess. Don't try to defend it. She driving like it's hot on the spot, but she take threes. Wnba is sparking, loving the best 'cause they awesome. Tonight we going home.
Well, good evening, WNBA and LA Sparks fans. Nice to see you again. And welcome in, folks, to the LA Sparks 365 Network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home for both the WNBA and your two-time WNBA champion Los Angeles Sparks. Back with you, folks, for the final time before we pack our luggage and head off to the Big Bad Apple of New York City on Friday morning. Good evening, folks. Welcome into tonight's edition of WNBA 365 for Wednesday night, August 26, 2015. Of course, Callum McClurg for the final time for this month of August here in studio, here at Studio 171 in San Diego. Of course, folks, a couple days off, trying to get some stuff done. Of course, I have not packed. You guys can probably tell in the bottom left corner of your screen, folks, my laundry and my luggage is not even close to being packed yet. That's why I posed a question earlier on Twitter today. Who out there other than me is a last-minute packer for vacation? So I'm obviously a slowpoke packing luggage, so I'll worry about that later. But with that, folks, glad to be back here. Of course, folks, again, program alert you guys may have heard, but again, this is our final night of coverage for the league until next month. September the 9th is when we'll be back on the air with you folks. Of course, I'll be gone for 2 weeks in New York, plus a couple added days, and of course, September 8th will begin my new job over at Point Loma Nazarene University. With that, though, folks, we'll get to the lone game on the WNBA docket tonight, where the LA Sparks took on the Indiana Fever tonight from the Baker's Life Fieldhouse out there in Indianapolis, Indiana. And, folks, a game that really put the Sparks and really tested this team. Probably their biggest, probably the game that had probably the biggest amount of emotion and repercussion, and a game that you saw LA will themselves, not having the crowd will them, but the Sparks willing themselves to a much-earned, much-deserved 81-79 victory over a smoking red-hot Indiana Fever team who had come in and won 6 straight games before the loss tonight. Now, folks, obviously some major news. Before we get to anything about the game, folks, some major news involving the game. You guys saw the play. I know I did not see it. Mariana Tolo, Sparks center. 4 minutes played tonight. Left the game. Good news, though, it is only a sprained knee. Nothing too serious, though. Now, as you guys may have heard or saw the tweets and the Facebook post today, again, Mariana apparently heard a pop when she did go down to when she crumpled down to the floor on that play. But again, folks, the MRI came back again, only ruled a right knee sprain. So again, nothing too serious yet. Further evaluation will be taking place sometime soon. She will more likely miss the upcoming game with the shock on Friday. But again, Mariana Tolo only suffered a sprained knee. Nothing serious yet, and nothing else from the Sparks or from the WNBA about the severity of the injury. But again, folks, once more, Mariana Tolo again suffered a sprained knee in today's game. Only played 4 minutes and had 2 points before going down with the knee injury. Okay, now to the final line score for the Sparks. Rough start again, 21 in the first, 18 in the second, 23 in the third, and 19 in the fourth for the game, total of 81. And for the Indiana Fever, 25 in the first and 18 across the board in quarters 2, tres, and cuatro for the game total of 79. The rookie guard, Anna Dobovich, player of the game, 18 points, 8 of 15 shooting from the field. And, of course, Anna with the game-winning basket for the Sparks on a pull-up jumper from the free throw line with just 6.1 seconds to play in the ball game. Jantel Lavender, 17 points. Chrissy Tolliver, 16. Candace Parker flirts with her third consecutive triple-double. Again, falls just one stat category short of that triple-double. 15, 10, and 9 for CP in the ball game. Crystal Bradford off the bench, of course, with Tolo going out. The bench stepping up their game tonight for Los Angeles. Crystal Bradford, 2 huge threes, 9 points on the day, made 2 of her 3 baskets from beyond the arc. Tamika Johnson, Mariana Tolo, Jen Hampson, all with 2 points. And Faria Abdi, Elena Beard, Nneka Ogumike, and Aaron Phillips all out, nursing injuries at this point in time. The Sparks, again, with 81 points on the day. For the Indiana Fever, who saw their 6-game winning streak come to a close tonight, Shanice Johnson, who is right now a front-runner for WNBA most improved player, 16 points. Lena Kaiser, 12. Tamika catching 10 points. And also, folks, tonight for catch, her 1,000th career steal in her illustrious WNBA career. Shavonte Zillows, Brianne January, and Marissa Coleman all with 9. Natalie Achuan, 7. Lasia Clarendon also with 4. Maggie Lucas with 3. Natasha Howard, Erlena Larkins, and Jeanette Pullen all out of the ballgame due to injury. And the Fever again with 79 points. Ballgame played tonight from the Bangers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Total attendance tonight, 6,822. Time of the ballgame, an hour and 59 minutes. And 3 times tonight, the lead changed, and 3 times the teams were tied. Now, folks, let's start with LA. Obviously, there's a lot of consternation still going on with the Sparks. You're just kind of waiting for this team to really get hot. And right now, they're kind of getting there on a very slow train right now. They're not really, they haven't really hit that gas gauge or that gas pedal and haven't pushed it through the floorboards just yet because folks, as you guys may know, the Sparks this year have had, and they have had absolute zero. They have had 0 games this year where they have had their full, healthy starting 12 or entire roster to play in a game tonight, folks. And obviously, with Tolo going down tonight, it just kind of, it adds more salt to the Sparks' wounds. You're already walking, basically, folks, right now, every game the Sparks have played in, they've walked in to that game already, they're already turning to be the hunted. The hunter's going to be going after the hunted because LA has come in so far in every game hurt. Between Aaron Phillips earlier in the year, Nneka Ogwumike with that ankle sprain she suffered. Then, of course, you had Freya Abdi in the knee. Elena Beard, of course, had the plantar fasciitis and, of course, the pulled quad in Minneapolis a few weeks ago. So, obviously, folks, it doesn't come easy for the Sparks. But so far, it's just been one of those years where it's been injuries. Depth problems have been, depth has been another problem as well. But obviously, folks, you see some of the young kids, the young guns on this LA roster step up to the plate and hit a grand slam. I mean, Anna Davovic, folks, of course, missed that time early in the year with the Eurobasket tournament over in Europe. And since she's come in, folks, she has made an immediate impact on this LA roster. Her mid-range game has been solid. Obviously, has to work on, handling the ball a bit better when she's going in down low in the post. Of course, we've seen a few of her shots get blocked or having the ball stripped. But, of course, the way she's played, folks, and I think that she's probably one of the more underrated players on the Sparks radar right now. As you look at this whole game, Davovic, folks, Davovic won tonight's game. She hit the game-winning basket with 6 seconds left in a 79-79 tie after Brianne January made a clutch 3 to tie the game up at 79 apiece. Again, folks, for Davovic tonight, 36 minutes played, 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc, no free throw attempts, finished -5 and plus-minus efficiency, 1 rebound, 4 personals, 2 steals, and a block, and the 18 points. And, of course, folks, 2 was 18 points, the game-winning points for LA in the ball game. And, folks, I think, though, that for us not knowing a whole lot about Davovic, of course, as we know with the Sparks, really bringing in a lot of foreign talent this offseason between Phillips and Tolo and even some of the kids they brought in during training camp this year, with so many international players, you didn't know a whole lot about them. But then once you started seeing Davovic play, you saw Tolo play, it's like, okay, I'm going to fall in love with them eventually. But then you see Davovic tonight, folks, again, hero of the game, wins the ball game, and she's played this way she's pretty much, folks, kept up her end of the bargain by playing to this level so far in all the games she's played. And I think that she's a very underrated player, folks, and obviously I don't see her leaving the starting lineup anytime soon. I think that we can pretty much pencil her into the starting lineup for the time being until some of these bodies can get themselves healthy. Now, across the board, folks, the other side of the story, Candace Parker. Sparks are now 8-4 since her return back late last month to the lineup, of course, from her first half rest period. But, folks, obviously, if there was a MVP award for the second half of the season, she's probably getting everyone's vote. But, of course, the one half of the season doesn't make up for a whole year of what we've seen from Elena Deladon, from Maya Moore, Tina Charles, among notable names. But to see Candace Parker, folks, tonight again, for the 3rd straight game, flirting with a triple-double, and again, just falling one measly stat category away from that triple-double. It's sadly, folks, it's eluding her, sadly, like her long-lost championship. But eventually she's going to get the triple-double and eventually get that championship ring on her finger. But again, folks, for Ace, 15 points, 37 minutes played, 4 of 10, folks. And obviously, folks, Candace Parker did not have her A game shooting-wise tonight, 4 or 10 from the field, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc. But, folks, the stat category, though, Parker had more free throw attempts than anyone on the club tonight, had 10 of them, made 6 of them, plus 5 in efficiency, 10 rebounds, all defensively, 9 assists, 4 personals, 3 steals, 3 turnovers, and had one of her shots blocked, but did, though, have 15 points in the ballgame. And, again, flirting with her third consecutive triple-double on this road trip. Then, folks, there is Crystal Bradford, the Sparks' number 7 overall pick in the 2015 draft from round 1. Now, obviously, missed some part of the year because of a nagging knee problem she suffered during the tournament at Central Michigan. And tonight, folks, really showed us why the Sparks kept her and didn't keep their other draft picks, as you saw, of course, with Sierra Burdick being drafted in the second round, and, of course, a few other players that they had acquired via either free agency or draft-wise, where Bradford really sort of kind of was a bull in a china closet in the early part of the season where she first came in, very wild, very, a little too flashy with her play. But tonight, folks, settled in beautifully tonight with a few pretty big baskets to keep the Sparks' head just above the water in the deep end of a swimming pool in this game tonight, where it looked like the Fever were going to snatch them out and make them drown at the bottom of the pool tonight, where Bradford kept LA's arc afloat for a few critical possessions in that ball game. Again, 9 points and 2 huge threes that kept LA afloat, and also finished plus 15 in efficiency tonight for her tonight as well. Looking back, folks, now looking again, folks. Now, again, folks, Mariana Tolo, again, folks, again, the big news again. Mariana Tolo, knee sprain is what we have heard. Nothing confirmed, though, from the Sparks or from the Sparks training staff. But again, obvious news again, obviously, just continues to deplete the roster. The Sparks have already had to file for injury hardship earlier in the year because of the injuries, folks. And again, obviously, things have not really panned out still. Wnba still out with that knee problem. Beard again back out with either the knee or perhaps the plantar fasciitis, or even that quad again flaring up. Wnba still not fully over that concussion suffered last week versus Chicago. And of course, Erin Phillips, folks, on the trip to Phoenix, of course, to pick up her 2014 WNBA championship ring in Phoenix on Friday night. But obviously, probably still, in my opinion, probably not play at all for the remainder of the season. Maybe the postseason if when LA gets there. But of course, you got to get these bodies healthy. I mean, the Sparks, as we said, folks, have been walking wounded, for the entire season so far. And that's what I think folks, is probably going to be what will kill the Sparks in the postseason, is just depth and injuries and the bodies just kind of deteriorating for the entire season. And obviously, you kind of hope for the best. But again, folks, Faria Abdi, Elena Beard, Nneka Ogwumike, Erin Phillips, all DNPs with some type of injury at this point in time. Now, folks, to the Indiana Fever. Boy, oh boy, folks. I mean, for one, of course, the Sparks incrementally blew the game a couple weeks ago at Staples Center against the Fever, where tonight the Fever started hot, and then things just went down south, sadly, for the Fever in this ball game. Again, folks, Shanice Johnson, who I think right now is a front runner and perhaps the winner of the WNBA Most Improved Player of the Year award, coming over in that trade early in the offseason from San Antonio, 16 points lead the way. Folks, I mean, I just don't know where the breakdown was in the Fever tonight. I think that they had just played a solid game all the way around. But again, folks, you really don't know what it really boils down to. Maybe it was a defensive lapse on that final possession where Davovich made that game-winning basket. I mean, it could have been a lot of things, folks. Of course, seeing that last possession, they had a lot. They had bodies across the floor covering up everyone. But it looked like Davovich just got free for a split second. No one there for Indiana on defense, and she drains that basket to give them the victory, basically at the final horn with those 6 seconds left on the game clock. But I think that tonight was just, taking one possession off for Indiana doomed them in the ball game. And I know this is something that Candace Parker told me during my interview with her in September of last year was, postseason problems for the Sparks in recent years have been defensive lapses, taking possessions off at the worst possible time, which is why you've seen them lose in the playoffs by 1 point in the past couple of years. We're tonight with Indiana, it was kind of that same type of story. It was, battling it out all the way till, Indiana basically was in control of this ball game for 39 minutes and change until the game-winning basket by Wnba tonight for LA. Again, folks, tonight's player of the game, Wnba, the rookie out of Serbia. 18 points to lead the Sparks, and also the game-winning basket with 6.1 seconds left in regulation and a 79-79 time for the Indiana Fever, folks. It is Tamika Catchings, folks. It is Tamika Catchings taking home player of the game honors for Indiana. 10 points, yes, but her 1,000th career steal, the first one to get there in WNBA history. But again, folks, more importantly, the Sparks win 81-79 over the Indiana Fever from the Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Well, folks, the 2014 WNBA champs paid a visit to see the president of the United States, folks. The Phoenix Mercury were honored today by President Barack Obama at the White House for, of course, winning the 2014 WNBA championship with their very impressive 29-5 season last year, which, of course, resulted in the Fever winning their third WNBA championship. Now, folks, I mean, that is something that is definitely on any athlete's bucket list. Not only winning the title, folks, but you get to go and see, one of the most prestigious buildings in American history. You get to go and hang out at the White House with the president and the first family. You get to, have a nice little press conference there. And, it's something that I would, totally want to do if I was ever on a team that got to do that. I know that when I played baseball, I got to go to San Diego City Hall down here in San Diego 9 years ago for winning a tournament in New York. Hey, that works pretty well for me. But going there, folks, and being honored by the city for, bringing home a championship to San Diego at City Hall from the city council, that was kind of my White House moment almost. We got a chance to go and, see the council, meet them, and, we even have a proclamation from our city deeming 2 days as my travel team's day throughout the entire city and county of San Diego. So, of course, to see the Mercury, of course, going to the White House, very fun, and hopefully they had a great time seeing the first family tonight over there in our nation's capital. Some more news, folks, out of the WNBA, folks, and it is some pretty historic news, folks. Mama D, Delisha Milton-Jones, folks, the longtime WNBA vet, has tied Tina Thompson for the most games played in WNBA history, with her accomplishing that feat a few days ago across the board with the Atlanta Dream playing one of their games a few days ago, folks. Some news from San Antonio real quick as well. Sophia Young-Malcolm announcing today she will be stepping aside from the game and retiring following the Stars' 2015 WNBA season. The press release here from the Stars on stars.com reads, Stars forward and tenured WNBA vet Sophia Young-Malcolm will retire at the conclusion of a 2015 WNBA season. She will end her career as the Stars' all-time leader in games played, points, rebounds, steals, minutes, field goals made, and free throws made. She'll be honored during a post-game ceremony on September 5th following the game against Brittany Griner in the Phoenix Mercury at the Freeman Coliseum. A three-time All-Star, she was selected to the Stars' all-decade team back in 2012. She holds career averages of 14.4 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 1.9 assists and 1.59 steals in 30.9 minutes over 295 games played in her career with the San Antonio Stars. Well, folks, obviously, it's not fun seeing players retire, folks. I mean, it's just not fun because it doesn't matter if you like that team or not. To see a player of any type of stature, whether it's in a good way, and whether it's a team you despise or not, folks, to see that player leave, of course, it just does not feel like that you're not going to be able to see them play anytime soon, or see them play ever again, folks. And of course, with Sophia Young-Malcolm, who's been a player sort of as one of those pillars of this Utah / San Antonio Silver / Stars franchise as a whole, from the days in Utah to, of course, now being a 10-year vet with the team. We wish Sophia nothing but the best in her future endeavors, and of course, remembered by Sparks for, of course, that very circus shot she hit back in the playoffs in 2008, back over in the 2008 WNBA Western Conference Finals in 2008. There is only one game on your Thursday WNBA schedule tomorrow night at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, when the Mercury will take on the Connecticut Sun at 7 Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Now, folks, on Friday, I'm going to focus on Friday, there will be no coverage of the network of the league until September 9th. Keep that in mind, folks, I'll be gone in New York. There's a whole WNBA buffet for you folks on Friday while I'm gone. Enjoy my first day in the Big Apple. At the 4 o'clock games across the board, Phoenix at Washington, Atlanta, Indiana, Minnesota at New York. Hey, that'll be nice. LA will be at Tulsa, and, of course, at night at 7 o'clock, San Antonio at Seattle at 7 p.m. over on NBA TV. Again, folks, LA Sparks, grind out a nice one tonight and grind out a nice victory over the Indiana Fever. 81-79 is the final score for the Sparks tonight over the Fever from the Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's take a look at those WNBA playoff push standings. The New York Liberty out east hold a 1.5 game lead over Indiana. The Liberty 18-8. 7-3 in their last 10. Played Indiana, now 17-10 with that loss to LA this evening. Chicago right behind them, those 17-11, 2 games back. Washington 15-11, 3 games back. Connecticut 12-15, 6.5 games back. And, of course, Atlanta 11-16, 7.5 games out of first. Out west, Minnesota hangs on to the top spot at 19-9. Phoenix right behind them, though, 2.5 games out, 16-11. Tulsa 13-14, 5.5 games out. LA 11-17, 8 games out, and then, of course, in the bottom half of the conference, Seattle 7-20, 11.5 games out, and San Antonio 7-21, 12 games out. Only teams to clinch playoff berths right now in the WNBA go as follows. Only 2 teams, Minnesota and Phoenix, have already clinched their tickets to the 2015 WNBA playoff party starting up on September 17th. If the playoffs did start today, folks, out east, New York would take on Washington, and Indiana would take on Chicago in the opening round of the conference semifinals. And out west, Minnesota, LA, Phoenix, and Tulsa would make up your 4-team playoff brackets for the WNBA playoff picture for the 2015 season so far today. How about the race for MVP, folks, through 23 as of today? Right now, what you've got, folks, is still the top 3 as of right now. Elena Delle Donne, Maya Moore, and Brittany Griner, the top 3 from WNBA.com. Folks, can we really bet against Elena Delle Donne right now, folks, for MVP? I, for one, folks, don't know if we can really take this award away from Elena right now of how she has played this entire year. Now, I know that Maya Moore's on a first-place club who's been to the big dance who knows how many times in recent years. And Brittany Griner's on a team that is the defending champs right now. But, folks, I think that just the way of how Elena has played the entire year, and I know that, that the other 2 are just as worthy, folks, but, when Elena Delle Donne has a better season than LeBron James and a few other NBA players statistically, there's no way that you can somehow, say she can't be MVP. I mean, she put up 45, for heaven's sakes, in a game earlier this year and has just, pretty much dominated in a conference that is, far better than the West this year. And normally, and this is even a trend of the NBA, folks, in the NBA as well, where the West is so much tougher than the East, where this year, hey, it's roll the dice, roll reversal, folks. We're out East. Folks, the Eastern Conference is a better playoff race to watch than the West, in my opinion, because you have, new teams in for one, but also it's a lot closer than, having the third place team, so far behind in the chase to get the top seed, folks, and already as well, with 2 seeds already locked up out West. I think that with what we've seen from the East, folks, and I think though too that if Elena Delle Donne didn't play like she has played this year, folks, Chicago would not be in the playoffs, in my opinion. I think that you kind of saw them kind of, drape her off a bit when she was injured last year with her, with her battling her Lyme disease last year. But I don't know if we could, but I really, folks, not trying to be a homer for LA for anyone else, folks, but I 100%, think that we can't take this MVP award away from EDD, folks. She has, been player of the week, for who knows how many weeks, player of the month out East, and, has pretty much, folks, kept Chicago in this fray and what is for the first time in who knows how long in a very tight contested Eastern Conference. Now, again, folks, Maya Moore is on a team that, has been to the big dance, has won 2 titles in the past couple seasons, and basically was given the conference title because of what happened with Phoenix and LA earlier in the year off the court with players sitting out. And she is the reigning MVP, folks. But at the same time, though, yes, and I know that Maya Moore has kept Minnesota afloat while Moan's been out and other players have been injured. But statistically, I'm sure they're head-to-head. But I think, though, that Elena Del Don just gets head and shoulders a little bit more of a vote than Maya Moore right now because of how she has played the entire year. I know that Maya Moore's played great. She's been there throughout the entire year while other players have gone out with injury. But I think, though, that it's about value to the club. And I think that as much value as Maya Moore has to Minnesota, they're 10 games over 500, folks, for Chicago would not be in third place if it was not for how EDD has played this entire year. Now, of course, folks, Brittany Griner, of course, we know there's been a lot of turmoil clouding her right now off the court with her personal issues, folks. But Brittany has held her own on the court and has really stepped up to the plate in spite of the absence of both Diana Taurasi and Penny Taylor with the Mercury this season, folks. And she has helped this team stay relevant and in second place in the conference. And I think that with how she's played as well, obviously, yes, some bad games, rough games, great games, awesome games. Yes, a little hot and cold, folks. But I don't think that if Brittany was playing as well as she was, folks, I don't think the Mercury would be in this position. I really thought that, I was kind of questioning how she was going to handle the pressure of being that star, that franchise superstar, now that Taurasi and Taylor took the year off. And it's going to, and folks, eventually, once Diane and Penny do retire, Brittany will have to take over for those two as being the poster child for this franchise. And so far in year one, the experiment has worked about 90. It's worked about 90% so far. And I think that, folks, she also gets votes because, hey, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And with her being on the defending WNBA championship team, folks, that's why she also gets the votes as well. And hey, I think that without how she's played, along with Candu and Dawana Bonner, the Merc would not be in this position right now, I believe, because I think that we all would say here that if there was no Griner playing this way, we don't think I know for a fact that I don't think the Mercury would be in this position, because I think that once you heard about Dee and Penny not playing, you kind of feared that they were going to go down south and it was going to be a very off year, perhaps a year a la 2012 or 2011 or 2012 when they did do the Phoenix tank job 1.0. But I think, though, that in my opinion, folks, Elena Del Don, WNBA MVP. We can take your take, folks, on Twitter at LA Sparks 365 or at Calimac3. Who does get your vote right now this late in the season for 2015 WNBA MVP? Folks, looking at some of the teams on the bottom half right now, the standings, of course, Connecticut, folks, and Atlanta out east, and San Antonio out west. Obviously, the sun kind of fell off a bit here. Still, folks, trying to find an identity in Connecticut right now and trying to find a superstar. Still, though, folks, a very fun team to watch, very energetic, though, but again, trying to find some core pieces to go along with a few other pieces as well. And, folks, with Atlanta right now, obviously injuries, Angel McCoughtry, Michael Cooper, probably not on the same page right now. They're scuffling right now, still holding on, though, trying to get their best to get back in the mix. And, of course, folks, out west, Seattle and San Antonio on the bottom half right now. Right now, both teams hampered with injuries, both teams with coaches that, may be on their way out after the season, perhaps. Who knows? But, again, Seattle and San Antonio, Connecticut and Atlanta right now, your lottery teams right now. And perhaps right now with the current situation, Seattle would have the number one pick, perhaps, with the new format in. They are 7-20 with the worst record in the WNBA. Well, folks, sadly, we have come to the end of the line here, folks, on what was a great Wednesday night, folks. But again, folks, final score of the night, LA Sparks with a huge come-from-behind win over the Indiana Fever by the final score of the night of 81-79. And, folks, one quick tweet from Shorty Mama 24. She says, EDD for MVP. With that, folks, your MVP host is out for the night and for 2 weeks, folks. So until September 9th. Gosh, until September 9th. My goodness gracious. Have a safe night. Drive home safely. Thank you all for coming, folks, and tuning in. and good night now. This has been the LA Sparks 365 Network. We are Sparks. We are LA. We are the WNBA, folks. Woo, I'm going to miss you guys, folks. Until September 9th, I'll see you folks back in San Diego on September 9th. Until then, folks, I'll see you, some of you folks, out in New York in the Big Bad Apple, the concrete jungle of New York City over in New York, folks. Until then, be safe. I love you all. See you then. Bye-bye.